Hey everyone, how are you? In this video, we are going to solve the Leetcode problem of the day, and the problem is longest unequal adjacent group sequence part 1. Now the problem category is of easy level, and I would say yes, it is easy, but the problem description given is really bad. And that's fine. We just need to know about the input and the output and how to reach to the output from the input, and that is what we are going to understand for now. The given input in the problem is an array of string words, let's call it as words, and another array of 0 1 binary numbers, let's call it as groups. So there are two array which is given in the input, and the length of both the array are same. The first array is words, the second array is groups. The length of words and length of groups are same. And the output which we need to give is the longest alternating subsequence from the words. Now this words is this particular array which is given in the input. It is the array of string, and we need to find what's the longest alternating subsequence from this words array. Now I will explain you in detail how this will work. For now you need to understand what is an alternating sequence, right? You need to find the longest one from the words array, but what exactly is alternating subsequence? This we will understand from the task. For any two consecutive strings in your output, their corresponding groups will not be same, and that's it. This is the only condition to say that it is an alternating subsequence, that for any two consecutive strings in your output or in your array, their corresponding groups is not going to be same. Now this might sound a bit confusing, but let us understand it using few examples. So in example number 1, the given words array is consisting of 4 strings A, B, C and D, and the given groups array is 1 0 1 1. Now if you read back the statement task, that for any two consecutive strings, their corresponding groups should not be same or will not be same. Now the thing is, the length of words and length of groups are same, right? It means they both will have the same indexes, right? For example, in the example number 1, the indexes are going to be 0 1 2 3, right? Now what are corresponding groups? See, the thing is, in words, every string is having a corresponding group. And what is that corresponding group? The word is at index 0. So what is the group at index 0? It is 1. For C, you can say the word is at index 2. So what is at index 2 in groups? It is 1. So that is the group for C. So basically you can say that the group of A is 1, group of B is 0, group of C is 1, group of D is 1. That is, you can say for every word there is a corresponding group, right? And that group will be at the same index, at the index what the word is at. So for A it is 1, B it is 0, C it is 1, D it is 1. Now coming back to the output again, you need to find what is the longest alternating subsequence from words, right? Now the thing is, this is your words array, right? You need to find the longest alternating subsequence. What are alternating subsequence? When any two words or any two consecutive strings are not having the same group, their corresponding group should not be same, right? So you can say that A and B can be the part of the answer because their corresponding groups are not same. B and C can be the part of the answer because their corresponding groups are not same. It is 0, then it is 1, right? But C and D cannot be the part of the answer together because their corresponding groups 1 and 1 is same, right? So that is why you will see the output is A, B, C. Now the thing is, the output can be A, B and D as well. And why? Because for A and B, the groups are 1 and 0, which is different. Then the next pair is B and D, right? You need to see for two consecutive strings. You don't need to compare for A and D because they are not consecutive, right? You need to compare for B and D. The groups are 0 and 1, which is different, right? So you can say A, B and D can be answer as well, and you need to find the longest alternating subsequence, right? So even A and B is a valid alternating subsequence, but it is not longest. It can be A, B, C or A, B and D. Now A, B, C and A, B, D both are having same length 3, right? So you can return any of them. You just need to find what's the longest and return it, okay? So you don't need to worry if there are multiple longest answers. You can return any of it. And the same we can see in the example number 2. The given words are E, A and B, right? And their corresponding groups are 0, 0 and 1. For E it is 0, for A it is 0, for B it is 1. Now the thing is, the answer can be E and B or it can be A and B. Both are having the length of 2, right? Again, let me explain you. You need to find the longest alternating subsequence from words. What is an alternating subsequence? When any two consecutive strings in your sequence is having their corresponding groups different or not same, right? So in the example number 2, you can see that E, A, B is your sequence. E and A is having the same groups, so they cannot be the part of the answer together. Either you can choose E or you can choose A, right? So we can choose any of it. So let us choose E and then we will choose B, right? So this is the length. The length is 2 and we need to output the sequence. So the sequence is EB or it can be A comma B as well. Now what is the logic behind solving this problem? That's very important to understand, right? That's the main thing to understand. And let us try to understand it using this example. This is your words array. Apple, banana, carrot, dates, egg, fig and grapes. Their corresponding groups are 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1. For apple it is 0, for banana it is 0, for carrot it is 1, for dates it is 1, for egg it is 0, for fig it is 1, for grapes it is 1. and the length of your array is 7. Okay, you have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 elements, and the indexes are 0 1 2 3 4 5 6. Now the thing is, one of the possible answer for this particular input is of length 4. That is the longest subsequence which can have the alternating groups is of length 4, and that one possible answer is apple carrot egg fig. That is apple carrot egg fig. Now you need to see the groups, right? 0 1 0 1. The groups are alternating 0 1 1 0 0 1, right? None of the two groups are same. None of the two consecutive, right? Those are not same. Now how can you solve this? Now the thing is, let us say this is your array in which you are going to store the answer. For now it is empty. Now you see the first element, apple. If it is the first element, this can be the part of the answer, and I will tell you why. Let us say the first element is apple and you put it as the part of your answer. Okay, so this is included. We have not found carrot, egg and fig, but we know about apple because that's the first element. Now why can apple or the first element will always be the part of the answer, or can always be the part of the answer? Because if you have an array in which you have just one element, then you have no corresponding consecutive element to compare the group with, right? There is no element in the right, no element in the left. So whatever the group of apple be, 0 or 1, there will not be any problem because the condition is any two consecutive strings, right? But if you just have one string, apple, there is no consecutive string. So there is no problem storing apple as your answer. And we need to find the longest, right? And if we want to find the longest, you need to store every element which is possible. So apple is possible, right? So we stored apple. Now the thing is, we will check for the next element, banana. Is it possible? Now here is the important thing to understand. You can put banana as an answer, but if you want to put banana as an answer, you have to remove apple. They both cannot be the part of your answer together because they are of same group, right? But how can we be sure that we don't need to store banana? What is the logic? So the group of banana is 0, and that's the same group which we have just seen, right? We have seen 0. The last group before this banana, before this 0 is 0 as well. We will store every element we found which is possible, right? So if we are having the last group same, then it is very much possible that we have already stored an element of the same group. So we have already stored apple, right? And we will ignore banana. Now what about carrot? The same logic. The group for carrot is 1. What is the last group we have seen? It is 0. Now here we can be sure that if the last group is 0, we have definitely stored an element which is 0, right? Which is of group 0. So now we can store carrot, because if we store carrot, we are actually storing a string which is of different group. The last group we saw is 0. Now we are about to see a new group, a different alternating group which is 1. So we can say that 1 is the part of the answer. Carrot is the part of your answer. Now what about dates? Do you need to store dates? Dates is of group 1. Carrot is of group 1. The last group which we have seen is of the same group which our current element is at, right? So we don't need to store it because we are just storing every element which is possible. So if we are storing dates, the dates is of group 1 and the last element is also of group 1, then we are sure that we might have stored an element in our array, in our output, which is of group 1. We have already stored an element of group 1, right? So we cannot store an element of group 1 again. We need another element of group 0, right? And we got it in the next element, which is egg. Egg is of group 0. The last element is of group 1. If the last element is of group 1, we might have stored an element or a string of group 1. So we can store egg, right? So now this is 1, this is 0, this is 1, right? We are storing alternating numbers or alternating strings with alternating group numbers, right? Now what about fig? We have stored egg. What about fig? For fig it is 1. The last element is 0, right? Now if it is 0, then we are sure that we have already stored the last element which is of group 0, right? Now there can be a chance that it is all 0, okay? Let us say all of them are 0, right? Still we will store fig, because if all are 0, then also we are sure that if this is 1, the last element is 0, we have definitely stored one element which is of group 0, right? We can store apple, we cannot store banana, cannot store carrot, cannot store dates, cannot store egg, right? So no carrot, no egg, still we have apple, right? So we can add fig because apple is of group 0, fig is of group 1. So there is just one check to be done. You definitely need to add the first element, then you will add all those elements for which the group is different from the last group, right? So we need to add fig, we have added fig, but what about grapes? Now you cannot add grapes because it is of group 1, which is similar to the last group we saw. Now if it is similar, then we are sure that we have definitely added an element in our result or output which is of group 1, right? So that is the logic here. And if you see the pattern here, see the number of zeros you have seen, then you have seen ones, then again you see 0, then again you see 1. So out of this you can store any one of it, out of this you can store any one of it, out of this you can store any one of it, and out of this you can store any one of it. You just need to find the alternating sequences, right? And for every group or for every different structure, we are storing the first element apple, then carrot, then egg, then fig, right? Apple, carrot, egg, fig. And that's why we are sure that if we see more number of zeros or more number of ones, and if it is same to the last one, then we have definitely stored it, because we are definitely storing the first element of every alternating sequence we can see. This is one sequence, another sequence, another sequence, another sequence. First element, first, first, and first. We are storing it, right? So this is called a greedy approach. The moment we are finding an answer, a possible answer, we are storing it. And the moment we are finding a change in the group, we are again storing the next element, which is carrot, or the change is here, so we are storing egg, or the change is here, so we are storing fig, right? So we are storing all the first element of a new sequence which is forming, right? So that in the output, the strings form a sequence for which the groups are alternating 0, 1, 0, 1, right? Now this explanation took a lot of time, which is fine, because now the solution is not going to take a lot of time. Let me get back to the code editor and let me show you how can you solve this using Python. So now if you notice that solution for this particular problem is really simple. It is hardly of 4 to 5 lines. You just create a variable result, which is an array where we are going to store our result. Then you run a simple loop for I in the range of length of words, and if I is 0, that is if you are on the first word, or if the current groups of I, that is the current group number, is not equal to the last group we have seen, then in this case we are going to append the word in our result. Why? Because either the word is the first word or there is a change in the group, and for both of the cases we need to add that word, right? So this is the complete solution for this particular problem. You can finally return the result and you can submit the code, and you will see that this is actually pretty efficient code for this particular problem. So yes, you can see the runtime is good, the memory used is pretty good, right? So yes, we have solved this problem, and that's it for this video, guys. If you liked the explanation of this video, and if this video helps you to understand the problem and the solution approach, then make sure that you hit that like button. And if you are not subscribed to the channel as of now, then make sure that you subscribe to my channel as well, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching this video, guys.